Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Sorry, we were just having some technical difficulties. My computer was acting all slow, so I'm sorry if my frame is still catching up or anything. Anyway, my name is Samantha Genzer. I'm going to be your guys' show host for today. We have a very exciting episode for you guys. I'm particularly excited for this episode. We're going to be covering Cameron Brink's injury, NWSL updates, preview of the KPMG Women's PGA Championships, a recap of the first 2 days of the U.S. diving Olympic trials, and make sure you guys stay till the end of the show to hear about the student athletes competing in the U.S. track and field Olympic trials. Before we begin, I wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. We also get a lot of questions and comments that come from viewers during the show, so to ensure that your questions and comments get read on the air, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and of course, it really does help the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Now, let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's show. Okay, so our first segment today, we're going to be doing some WNBA updates. We're going to be talking about Cameron Brink's injury and then how the WNBA teams are doing, standings, and all of that. So let's get started. As we know, Cameron Brink was selected as the number 2 draft pick by the Los Angeles Sparks. She made her WNBA professional debut on May 4th in the Sparks' first preseason game. She's a forward and played for the Stanford basketball team before this year's WNBA season, draft, all of that. In the season, she has been doing really good, particularly well in defense. She was averaging 7.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and 1.1 steals. She has started all of the 15 Sparks games this season. She has blocked a league-high 9% of opponent 2-point attempts. Among players who have defended at least 40 shot attempts in the paint, according to Second Spectrum tracking, Brink ranks 5th, with opponents hitting just 51% of those shots. Foul trouble was predictably an issue for Brink, who was averaging 6.5 fouls per 36 minutes. But the Sparks can feel good about how well she played before the injury, and she really was honestly the first or even second rookie in the league right now. I did my rankings on the rookies so far in the season, about a week and a half ago maybe. Check that video out. It's in there in our YouTube channel, I know that. And she was number 2. Of course, Caitlin Clark was first, in my opinion. But that's an opinion, okay? But Cameron Brink is right there. So on Tuesday, during the Sparks v. Connecticut Sun game, Brink suffered a torn ACL in her left knee. Less than 4 minutes into the game, Brink appeared to slip while driving to the basket. She had to be helped off the court after sustaining the injury. And if you guys know, ACL injuries are literally one of the worst injuries to have in sports. They're so common, unfortunately, and the recovery you need is insane. The amount of people that I used to play, because I used to play basketball with, that would get ACL injuries, soccer too, a lot of people would get ACL injuries. I have not got an ACL injury, knock on wood, but I just know the recovery process is so much. It's insane. So now Brink will unfortunately miss the rest of her season. So she was also offered the opportunity to be on the roster for Team USA 3v3 in the Olympics, but she will have to also miss that. Because of Brink's absence, a lot of us have been wondering how this will affect the team. The silver lining for the Sparks' backup center Lee Yuru has been coming on lately during her first extended WNBA action after playing just 82 minutes as a rookie with the Chicago Sky in 2022. Lee had a career-high 18 points at Seattle earlier this month, finishing the game over Brink, and 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting in the game when Brink was injured. Per 36 minutes, her averages of 14.2 points and 10.6 rebounds are better than Brink, although Lee is nowhere near the kind of deterrent around the rim as a shot blocker. I think that Brink has like different aspects of her game are just better. She has different strengths. Lee has different strengths. They have different weaknesses. So like they're not technically very much comparable, I feel like, but still it is good to see that there's another player that is stepping up. Down the road, Los Angeles could get Azura Stevens back in the lineup. When Stevens initially suffered a left arm injury playing in China and underwent surgery, the Sparks indicated she'd be reevaluated in 12 weeks. So we'll hit that mark on Friday. Stevens can play either center alongside Darica Hamby or power forward next to Lee. If Stevens is still expected to miss at least another 3 weeks, Los Angeles would be eligible for a hardship exception to add a 13th player to the roster. Corrine Edba, recently waived by Connecticut, would be a logical target. Alternatively, the Sparks could bring back Hungarian center Virag Kiss, who was with the team in training camp. But other than that, a lot of focus will now be on forward Rickea Jackson, the Sparks' other 2024 draft lottery pick this season. The number 4 selection, she is averaging 10.3 points and 3.6 rebounds. Jackson's best game so far was a 19.10 rebound performance via the Minnesota Lynx on June 14th. Jackson has scored in double figures in 4 of her last 5 games, shooting 56.1% from the field in that span. She's a talented scorer who is also capable of being a versatile defender for the Sparks. In terms of the 3v3 Olympic team, USA Basketball must replace Brink with another player who has sufficient qualifying points in 3v3 competitions. USA Basketball will probably want to fill Brink's spot with another post to complement guard Haley Van Lith, wing Ryan Howard, and fellow post Sierra Burdick. Looking through the FIBA individual rankings, the most logical replacement is Hamby, who automatically qualifies by ranking among the top 20 US players in 3v3 points. Hamby is having an all-star season in the WNBA. She was among the picks by ESPN's Alexa Filippo for the roster that would take on the USA's 5-on-5 Olympic team in this year's WNBA All-Star game, and brings more 3v3 experience than other players of that. If USA Basketball is less concerned about replacing Brink's size because she is so freaking tall, Howard's Atlanta Dream teammate Alicia Gray would be another strong candidate after helping the USA win the inaugural 3v3 gold in 2020 in Tokyo Olympics. Or the USA could bring back Katie Lau Samuelson of the Indiana Fever, who was set to be part of the team 3 years ago before contracting COVID and having to miss out, unfortunately. So in response to Brink's injury, USA Basketball made a statement, and in the statement they said, "Our thoughts are with Cameron as we wish her a speedy recovery. As a result of Cam's injury, USA Basketball will begin the process of selecting an athlete to join the 2024 USA 3x3 team, women's national team. We hope to see Cam back on the court and representing the red, white, and blue soon." And then recently retired Stanford coach Tara Van Dever told ESPN that she has, quote, "total confidence that Brink will be back better than ever next season." Van Dever also said, "I feel so badly for Cam. She was so excited about her rookie season in the Paris Olympics. This is so incredibly disappointing. Fortunately, she's a young, incredibly talented and competitive player. I know she'll work really hard to get back." In terms of Brink's future in the WNBA, Brink will have time to recover and hopefully return to the 2025 WNBA season. And she could be part of the 5-on-5 or 3v3 team in 2028 Los Angeles game. So she has the potential to be in the Olympics again. This is not like we're done here, kind of thing. Brink remains a building block for the Sparks along with Jackson and whoever Los Angeles drafts next year, likely in the lottery. The hope is this injury happening relatively early in the season allows Brink to get back on the court in time for 2025 training camp. Yeah, I don't know. With ACL injuries, it's so unpredictable, though. So I don't know. My hope is that she can get back for 2025 training camp, though. But consider that almost a year ago, Connecticut center Breonna Jones suffered a similar season-ending injury, an Achilles rupture, and now Jones has played all 14 games at her usual all-star level and helped the Sun to the best start in franchise history. On her Instagram, Brink wrote in a post, "You think it will never happen to you, and despite all the hard work, sometimes it does. This is hard to fathom, but I know it will only make me stronger. I will not be derailed, and I will continue to love this life. I'm not defined by basketball, but it is something that I love deeply, and I will work every day to get back to it. It's not goodbye basketball, it's just a see you later. I'm always so thankful for your thoughts and prayers." And someone just wrote in the comments, this is such a hard thing to watch. ACL tears are devastating, but Cameron will be back. The medical attention she will receive is top notch. No, I definitely do agree. She probably will receive some great medical attention. And it is so devastating because she was having such a good season. And it's like so rough to see that she has to stop. And she was going to be in the Olympics. But I do have a lot of faith that she will be back there in 2025 season, in the preseason possibly, and in the training camp. I don't know, ACL tears are so unpredictable, and they're so, I don't know, I hope we get more statements and information about what exactly, how bad the tear is and everything, and how the surgery process and recovery process is, because everybody, that all depends for everybody, so it will be definitely difficult to tell right now, but as we do know, it is unfortunate that she is going to have to be missing the rest of the WNBA season and her Olympic time in the 3-3 team. So before we move on to the next segment, we're going to talk about how the teams are doing in their standings, because I realized that I had not made much updates on how the teams are doing and what their standings are, and I didn't want to talk about it. So let's just get started. So all the way down at 12th is the Washington Mystics. They are not looking too hot, having won only 2 games and losing 13 games. Unfortunately, the Dallas Wings are in 11th with 3 wins and 10 losses, and this hurts me so much. Technically, Los Angeles Sparks is in 10th and the Chicago Sky is in 9th. But the issue here is that the Sparks have played a lot more games than the Sky has, but ratio-wise, the Sky is doing better than the Sparks technically. The Sparks have lost 11 games and won only 4, and the Sky have lost 9 games and also won 4 games. The Indiana Fever is getting a lot better, where they used to stand in second to last place, and now they're in 8th place with 6 wins and 10 losses. I also just filmed a YouTube short talking about how they are on a 4-winning streak right now, and this is their first time since 2015 they will have a 4-winning streak, which is so insane, which I did say that I think Caitlin Clark can make this team a lot better, so I think that kind of shows it that she's really helping out there. So, and then also the team is just looking more like a team. If you watch them play, they don't look like individual players anymore, they look like a team. I don't know what it is, maybe practice, I don't know, but it just looks like they're more of a team now. Multiple players on the team have had a chance to spotlight their strengths instead of just Clark, and now they're playing more like a team, and I think they've learned how to build off on everyone's strengths. So hopefully they can move up in the rankings some more. In 7th is the Atlanta Dream with 6 wins and 7 losses. The Phoenix Mercury is in 6th with 8 wins and 7 losses. And then the Las Vegas Aces are in 5th with 7 wins and 6 losses. And they actually have less wins than the Mercury, but because they have less losses than the Mercury, they're above them in the standings. Before the season started, I thought the Aces were going to lead the entire season, but something seems off with the team. I think the main reason they are struggling is because they're missing Chelsea Gray right now. She's out right now with a foot injury, but Gray really can't solve every problem the team is having. The defensive cohesion that fueled the Aces' dominant 2023 success is missing. The lineup change shifted what's expected and required from players. It seems they have been more disorganized as a team and possibly not consistent enough. Also, the other teams in the league are taking it to the Aces harder than ever before. For the past couple of years, the Aces have been good enough to where these slow starts don't affect them too much. But the teams are better this year, so their slow start is really hurting them. And I think that might be what the problem is. Moving on to 4th is the Seattle Storm with 9 wins and 6 losses. Tied in 2nd or 3rd is the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx with 12 wins and 3 losses. And finally, 1st is the Connecticut Sun, which isn't a shock to me, but I don't have as much confidence that they are going to continue being at the top for the rest of the season. I don't know why, but I just don't. I just kind of see I don't know. I still have hope that the Aces will be able to get their groove back on. But I also feel like the Liberty might be able to take them down again. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm really impressed with how they're playing. So they have 13 wins and 1 loss right now. I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we're going to talk about the NWSL elevating their game day experience, Sophia Smith's suspension controversy, and some USWNT's Olympic prep. Before we get into all of that, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh,
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
I was about to forget to unmute my microphone, and that would have been so awkward. Anyway, welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the unfortunate injury with Cameron Brink, and now we're switching over to soccer. I'm telling you guys, this is like my favorite episode, like, ever. I don't know. I'm like really happy to talk about all these things. So on Monday, we talked about some NWSL updates, and we're doing pretty much the same day in today's show. First, we're going to talk about how NWSL teams are elevating their game day experience for fans. Okay, so it was a big day at the CPKC Stadium, the first ever stadium built specifically for a NWSL team, and Marissa Genzer was in the zone. She flipped tacos and nachos on a cluster of small griddles, tucked inside a space that felt more like shipping container chic than your typical stadium snack bar. But hey, this wasn't your average snack fare. Marissa and her husband Mark ran Yoli Tortilleria. I'm so sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Which snagged a James Beard Award in 2023 for Outstanding Bakery. They were together. Their spot was just one of 11 local Kansas City joints, bringing some serious food to the stadium. From the legendary Joe's Barbecue to trendy acai bowls and gluten-free Thai eats, there was something for every plate. Marissa said, everyone thinks Kansas City is all about the barbecue, but we got a lot more going on. We wanted to show off that diversity, especially to fans who weren't from around here. So this trend of fancy eats at sports venues was catching on across the league. At CPKC Stadium, you could snag everything from pad thai tofu to lemongrass pork. It was a big shift from the usual lineup of hot dogs and fries, and it was part of a broader move to make game days about more than just the game, have that sort of culture. NWSL Commissioner Jessica Parratto had been all about upping the stadium game, pushing for top-notch facilities that made every match an event. And it looked like the Kansas City Current were setting the pace, blending great soccer vibes with top-tier grubbin' vibes. Local fan Eric Kennedy, decked out in the team's teal and white, was all in, and he said, I was here for the good stuff, give me quality eats, and I'm a happy camper. And he wasn't sure how they'd make the concept work in the stadium, but the results were on point. As CPKC Stadium saw a full house each game, it became clear that the venue was more than just a place for soccer. It was a hub for community engagement and a testament to the city's vibrant culture and culinary excellence. The story about CPKC Stadium and its offering is a cool glimpse into how women's soccer and sports venues are changing things up. CPKC isn't just a stadium, it's the first one ever built for the National Women's Soccer League team, the Kansas City Current. That's a big deal because it shows serious dedication to women's sports, boosting their profile. What's awesome is how the stadium experience goes beyond just watching soccer. They brought in local food joints like Yoli Tortilleria, turning game day into a fest with everything from award-winning tacos to, trendy acai bowls, everything that you could eat. This isn't just about filling seats, it's about creating a full-on experience that attracts more fans, even those who might not be super into sports or into soccer. Plus, showcasing local eats does wonders for community vibes, making fans feel a deeper connection to the area's culture beyond the typical barbecue reputation Kansas City has. This whole setup at CPKC could set a trend across other sports too, showing that giving fans a unique and tasty experience can really pay off. It's about making the stadium a place where everyone wants to hang out, not just sports fans. And economically, owning a spot where you can control everything from the food to the events can really help teams stand out and build a local fan base. It's a smart move and one that could change how teams think about engaging with fans and building their brand. The next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is drama, okay? This is the controversy happening with the Portland Thorns, okay? There's a lot to get into this. So on Saturday, the Portland Thorns beat the North Carolina Courage 1-0. Sophia Smith received her first red card and got two yellow cards for time wasting. It was insane, but also super funny, to be honest. With Portland holding onto a late 1-0 advantage, Smith was shown a yellow card in the 89th minute for kicking the ball away when the play had been stopped. Deep into stoppage time, Thorns head coach Rob Gale removed Smith from the match. From there, this is where the chaos and weirdness truly began. A ball went on a play on the sideline, which Smith quickly grabbed and attempted to hide under the bench. The forward clearly knew what she was doing, as she had a mischievous grin on her face as she attempted the soccer version of the hidden ball trick. Referee Danielle Chesky was not amused by Smith's antics, brandishing a second yellow card. To be honest, I thought it was funny, okay? But if I was a referee, I probably would have been really annoyed, and if I was a player in the North Carolina Courage, I would be really pissed off. But I kind of get it, and I mentioned this many times, but I played soccer for about 15 years, and I was a goalkeeper, and the amount of time wasting I would do when we were up ahead, I could, if the ball went far away, I would walk to get it, I would not run, and the refs would be mad, but I only got a yellow card for twice, so it wasn't the end of the world. But you know what, seeing someone do this, it's funny to me, okay? I find it funny, but it isn't professional. I get it. And if I was a ref, I would be annoyed, and if I was the person on the other team, I'd be really, I'd be pissed probably. So because of this, Smith received an automatic 1-game suspension. Smith sat out during a subsequent scoreless draw against the Seattle Reign, reflecting the immediate consequences of her action. However, the situation intensified behind the scenes. The Portland Thorns, believing the punishment to be excessive, decided to challenge the suspension. They filed an appeal, which, according to NWSL policy, allowed them to present their case to an independent review panel. The panel's decision was stern. They not only denied the appeal, but also classified it as frivolous. This designation is critical within the league's operation manual. It suggests that the appeal was not only unwarranted, but also without serious purpose or value. Consequently, this decision carries harsh penalties. The Thorns were fined $10,000, a bond required by the league to deter teams from making baseless appeals. Moreover, the teams had been stripped of the right to appeal any further suspensions throughout the remainder of the 2024 season and the entire 2025 season extending through the playoffs. In an interesting turn of events, the NWSL Players Association, or NWSLPA, intervened on behalf of Smith. They argued against the extension of her suspension and the increase in her fine. Ultimately, a review committee sided with the NWSLPA, unanimously supporting their position. The decision allowed Smith to be eligible to play in the upcoming Sunday's match against the Kansas City Current and mitigated her financial penalty, thank goodness. Despite Smith's reinstatement, the broader ramifications for the Thorns remain unchanged. The lost bond and the inability to contest future disciplinary actions underscore a tough stance by the league on maintaining discipline and order. This instance highlights the delicate balance between player conduct, team interests, and league governance in professional sports. As Smith returns to the field, the episode serves as a poignant reminder of the consequences that can arise from moments of levity in this high-stakes environment of professional soccer. In my opinion, the whole Sophia Smith situation feels like the NWSL might be swinging a bit too hard with their disciplinary hammer. While I get the need for discipline and maintaining a professional environment, we're talking about a player who made a playful, if ill-timed gesture during a game. Was it cheeky? Absolutely. But was it harmful or malicious? Hardly. Turning what could have been addressed with a stern warning or a minor fine into a significant legal and financial order for both the player and her team seems excessive. This wasn't a dangerous play, a derogatory comment, or anything that put anyone at risk. It was at most a minor disruption, yet the response was heavy. Losing $10,000 and the right to appeal any suspensions for nearly 2 full seasons is a tough pill to swallow. It sends a message, sure, but is it the right one? That's the question. This scenario, I think, sheds a light on a bigger issue, the balance of power between league authorities and individual teams and players. When the consequences are so severe that they could impact team strategies and player careers over relatively minor infractions, it might be time to, reevaluate the system. Are we prioritizing the spirit of the game and its growth, or are we stuck enforcing the letter of the law to the detriment of all else? Moreover, this rigid approach could chill player behavior excessively. Athletes might become overly cautious, stifling their personalities and diminishing the on-field spontaneity that can make sports so engaging for fans. Yes, sports need rules, but they also thrive on the personalities and unique flair players bring to the game. In essence, while maintaining order is crucial, the NWSL might benefit from a bit more flexibility, in my opinion. Adopting a more nuanced approach to discipline, one that considers the intent and context of players' actions, could foster a more positive relationship between the league and those who are at the heart of it, the players. After all, isn't the ultimate goal to enhance the game rather than police it to the point of sterility? Think about that. Anyway, okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the USWNT game against South Korea and some 3 thoughts on it. So the U.S. Women's National Team continued their successful run under the guidance of Emma Hayes, clinching a 3-0 victory over South Korea. Just forgot how to speak. Against South Korea in a friendly match on a rainy Tuesday in St. Paul, Minnesota. Goals from Crystal Dunn and Sophia Smith propelled the team, while newcomer Lily Johannes added a final touch, scoring late in her debut. Despite a sluggish start possibly due to the weather, the team showed marked improvement as the game progressed. The lineup saw significant rotation, allowing several players a chance to make their case for inclusion in Hayes' squad for the upcoming 2024 Olympics. So here are 3 critical insights from the match that could influence the final Olympic team selection. 1, tactical shifts and player opportunities. Emma Hayes made substantial changes to the starting lineup with 9 new faces compared to the previous match's victory. This strategic shuffle not only tested the team's adaptability, but also opened doors for players like Casey Murphy, who started over Aubrey Kingsbury. Murphy's performance, highlighted by key saves, could tip the scales in her favor as she competes to be the backup goalkeeper. The formation shifted from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1, adjusting the team's dynamic and testing different midfield combinations. Corbin Alper and Lindsey Huron, tasked with anchoring the midfield, found themselves navigating the complexities of the double pivot role, a setup that might need more refinement, to be honest. But honestly, I do prefer a 4-2-3-1 formation, but that's just like a preference thing. And then 2, Crystal Dunn's impactful return. Crystal Dunn's goal is in the 13th minute wasn't just a tally on the scoreboard. It marked a big comeback in her scoring role for the national team. Having not scored since October 2018, and after a period as a defensive player and becoming a mother, Dunn's ability to find the back of the net was a significant reminder of her versatility and offensive prowess. Her performance could complicate Coach Hayes' decisions, to be honest, giving the fierce competition among forwards. And then 3, Alex Morgan's uncertain position. I love Alex Morgan, so this kind of hurts me a bit. In contrast to Dunn's day, Alex Morgan had a quieter game, which might affect her chances for what would be her 4th Olympic appearance. Playing the central striker role, Morgan's involvement was limited, touching the ball only 14 times in 62 minutes. Her adaptability and synergy with the team's tactics under Hayes' new system could be crucial as she faces stiff competition from a talented pool of forwards. But right now, her position is sort of very much uncertain, unfortunately. In essence, while the USWNT gears up for the Olympics, each player's ability to adapt to tactical demands and size opportunities will be under scrutiny. As the team evolves, the blend of veteran savvy and emerging talent will be key to their success on the international stage. So now I'm going to move on to our next segment, where we're going to preview the KPMG Women's PGA Championships. Before we get into that, we are going to be taking a short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. So we just got done talking about some NWSL updates, and now we're going to be talking or previewing the KPMG Women's PGA Championships. So the competition is taking place today, to the 23rd, at the Solihi Country Club in Washington. The top 70... What was I trying to say? Oh my goodness, that was crazy. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It's almost Friday, so I have an excuse. Okay. So the top 70 and ties will make the weekend. The first two majors have been won by well-known names. Can Nelly Korda or Yuka Sasso add a second major trophy this year, or will it be another major name? The official purse is $10 million. That's a lot of money. The forecast looks dry and pleasant for golf in Washington. Temperatures are expected to reach 80 in the first 3 rounds, and the wind should blow around 10 miles per hour. Sunday will be a little colder for the conclusion of the year's third major championship. So let's talk about the course. Okay, so this course is beautiful, by the way. So try not to absolutely cry on the fact that you might not be there right now. So Solihi Country Club is a par 72 layout covering 6,731 yards. Those who remember this venue from 2016 will notice the final hole has been changed from par 4 to a par 5. Scoring here is hard enough, as everyone hits from the woods at some point in the round. I guarantee every player has hit their fair share of low runners to get ready for this week. You just cannot help it. The walls of trees down each side are that close. This course is pretty crazy. The greens are average in size, further replacing pressure on each approach. They average 6,000 square feet and are covered with POA and NUA. I don't know what that is, to be honest, but that's just what I saw on their website of the country club. Anyway, it's really pretty. 56 bunkers pop up in all the most unwanted places, while 6 holes bring water into play. Should you reach those putting surfaces, players must be careful not to 3-putt. These greens proved tricky in 2016 and even in the 1998 PGA Championship won by Vijay Sin. His winning total of 9 under par proves again how easy it is to make a boogie from the trees or add an extra putt. So many of the elite LPGA players were rattled at the US Open. In fact, Nelly Korda not only missed the cut at the US Open, she also didn't play the weekend in Michigan at the Mayor as well, which was last weekend. With the break before the US Open, Nelly has not played on a weekend day since May 19th, which is absolutely insane to think about that. That's crazy. So 3 of our 4 outrights have played with great results since Lancaster Country Club. I think it's important to build confidence and keep your game sharp. So Holly will be a mental grind, much like Pinehurst, but in a totally different way. The weather will be cold in the border hours. Tee shots will be supremely tested, and remaining patient amongst the number of bad luck bounces will try to test the strongest of resolves. So Noreen Ann held the lead on Sunday at the Mayor with 3 holes to go. For the second week in a row, we have witnessed another unfortunate ending. At least we didn't lose like someone else on Sunday. So Holly has hosted the LPGA before for the KPMG. Brooke Henderson defeated Lydia Ko in the playoff to take the 2016 title at 6 under par. Henderson was 18 years old at the time, and this was her first major and second one on tour, which is absolutely insane that she was 18 years old. She did not seem 18 years old to me. Her closing Sunday 65 and fabulous approach on the first playoff hole made the women's golf world take notice. If you get a moment, take a look at this country club on Google Maps. Notice the width of each fairway. This course is like no other major championship venue. Narrow does not even come close to defining these hallways. Okay, so now let's get into some predictions. Best bet to win is Ayaka Faru. Faru is coming off 3 straight top 8 results. That even includes a 6th place finish at last month's US Women's Open. The Japanese star is ranked 18 T2G and on the LPGA on 4th and fairways hit. Her top 8 finish at a big brutal test like Baltimore for the 2024 KPMG shows she can handle any length venue. Peru's ability to attack on approach and putt are the secret weapons I know most will be missed. Best head-to-head matchup, we have Ali Ewing over Jin Young Ko. Jin Young Ko is ranked 124th. That's a recipe for disaster heading into a week like this, to be honest. Ali Ewing just felt the heat of contending at the Mayor, finishing 4th. A very strong T2G player, Ewing is in good form and has a great opportunity to catch this H2H matchup by Friday evening. Best bet to finish in the top 10 is Megan Kong. Megan Kong could thread a needle with her driver. Her victory at the Tree Line Canadian Open in Vancouver last year proves she can definitely keep it in the fairway. The LPGA's leader in strokes gained T2G this season. King just finished runner-up at the ShopRite as well. So her first major is coming soon. Why not at a place where her extreme accuracy gives her a huge advantage to contend? That's all I'm saying there. So here's some other people you should keep your eye on. Lydia Ko will be competing, and she finished runner-up to Henderson at Sahalee in 2016 and continues her quest to secure the last remaining points she needs to qualify for the LPGA Hall of Fame. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why I can't speak today. It's an issue. Anyway, so it was at Sahalee in 2016 that MB Park qualified for the Hall after completing 10 years membership on the LPGA Tour. Also in the field is Lilia Vu, who won the Mayor LPGA Classic in her first start since March after returning from a back injury, which was really insane. Also, if you guys are interested in a recap of the Mayor LPGA Classic, check out Monday's episode because I did one of those in there. Okay, so Vu defeated Grace Kim and Lexi Thompson on the 3rd playoff hole at Blythefield Country Club to capture the win. So Thompson is also in the field and is competing in what is expected to be her final KPMG Women's PGA Championship after she announced her retirement at the US Women's Open. And Kim will also be teaming it up at Sahalee as well. So we should also mention Ryoan Yin. At Baltimore Golf Club in 2023, Yen won her first major title in thrilling fashion with a closing birdie on the 72nd hole to win by a single stroke at the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Yen held off a Sunday charge from Yuka Sasso to join Shan Shun Fin as just the second player from China to win a major championship on the LPGA Tour. Yen's victory at Balsters Row was her second of the season, and she was elevated to Rolex rankings number 1 with her outstanding performance throughout the season. But as Yang prepares to defend her title, she does so in the midst of what has been a challenging year with just 2 top 10s on her 2024 resume. She'll be interesting to watch for sure, though. And of course, I have to bring up Brooke Henderson again. A 19-year-old Brooke Henderson cemented her status as a world better after defeating, or world beater. What do people say? Victor? I don't know. Like, I heard someone say that the other day. They were like, a world beater or better. Anyway, she has been very victorious after defeating Lydia Ko to win the KPMG Women's PGA Championship in 2016. It was the first time the venue hosted the major championship, and Henderson felt right at home among Sahalee's towering tree-lined fairways, which reminded her of her home in Canada, apparently. She found a spark early in the week when she made a hole-in-one on her 4th hole of the tournament and won a car. 3 days later, Henderson came back from 2 strokes on the final day with a boogie-free 6-under 65-4 save playoff with Ko, who she promptly defeated on the first extra hole by sticking her approach to within 3 feet of the hole for birdie and the win. The victory marked the first of 2 major titles for Henderson, who has become the winningest golfer, male or female, from Canada with 13 LPGA Tour wins. She returns to Sahalee looking for some momentum as she remains in search of her first title of the year despite carding 5 top 10s through the first part of the year. Back in 2020, Se-Young Kim won the competition and Hannah Green won in 2019. Known for her aggressive play and excellent putting, Kim has consistently shown she can handle the pressure of big moments, which was evident in her 6-stroke victory at the 2020 KPMG Women's PGA Championships. Though her recent seasons have seen up and downs, Kim remains a threat at any tournament due to her experience and skill set. Green is praised for her calm demeanor and strong short game, both of which were crucial in her 2019 victory where she held off strong competitors. Green has maintained a solid presence on the tour, consistently making cuts and finishing strong in various tournaments. Her ability to perform under pressure continues to make her a contender in major tournaments. Yuka Sasso obviously has been on a great streak right now, and I would keep an eye on her. Sasso's most notable achievements came in 2021 when she won the US Women's Open, becoming the first player from the Philippines to win a golf major. This year she won the US Women's Open, which was another big moment for her, and she was representing Japan at this time. Known for her powerful driving and strong mental game, Sasso draws comparisons to Rory McIlroy, whom she has cited as her golfing idol. Her ability to perform well in tough conditions makes her a formidable opponent on the course, and she always has been a great competitor, so I think this will also be a great weekend for her as well. Lastly, I wanted to mention Nelly Korda again. Nelly Korda headlines the field at the season's third major championship as she makes her debut at Sahalee Country Club. The Rolex Women's World Golf Rankings #1 will be looking to recapture the magic that lifted her to 6 wins early in the season as she rides on the West Coast off back-to-back missed cuts at the US Women's Open, presented by Ali in the Mayer LPGA Classic for Simply Gibb. In 2021, Korda won her first major title at the KPMG Women's PGA Championships at Atlanta Athletic Club, but the fact that she had a rough weekend at the Mayer LPGA Classic gives me less hope in her, to be honest, and I don't mean that to be mean. She was tied for 133rd in the 144th player field at the Classic, missing the cut. Korda opened double boogie, playing in the afternoon in the grid with fellow past champions Brooke Henderson and Leona Maguire. Korda was even par the rest of the way, offsetting 3 boogies with 3 birdies. She just did not have a good start, and it affected any other move that she would make. Hopefully something like this doesn't happen at the KPMG Women's PGA Championships and she can get her groove back on, especially since the Olympics is approaching and she is supposed to be competing in the Olympics. Okay, so we're now going to move on to our next segment where we're going to talk about the US Diving Olympic Trials. Before we get into that, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the KPMG Women's PGA Championships, and now we're going to talk about the U.S. Diving Olympic Trials. Okay, so the trials are taking place from the 17th to the 23rd, so we're going to recap the first 2 days. The meet took place at the University of Tennessee's Allen Jones Aquatic Center. There were no events that took place on the 19th, which was yesterday, so that is why we are only going over the last 2 days. And we're not going to recap today, unfortunately, although everything has pretty much finished as of now. But I could not get time to gather my thoughts before the live stream, and because it has literally ended very, very recently. So anyway, so let's obviously start with the first day. I think that would make the most sense. Okay, so the first event on day 1 was the women's synchronized 3-meter preliminary. Okay, so in first was Kassidy Cook and Sarah Bacon, and second was Allison Gibson with Krista Palmer, and third was Kendall Knight with Samantha Pickens, and fourth was Lily White with Bailey Sturgill, and fifth was Ann Fowler with Carolina Schulte, and last in sixth was Ella Rowley, with Avery Gais. I'm so sorry, guys. You know I'm so bad at pronouncing names, especially last names, so I sincerely apologize. So the finals took place that night, and Kassidy Cook at 29 years old and Sarah Bacon at 25 years old secured their spot in the Olympics through the finals. So Kassidy Cook is going back to the Olympics for the first time in 8 years. Sarah Bacon is going to her first games. Cook and Bacon became the first U.S. divers to qualify for the Paris Games, winning the women's 3-meter synchronized springboard event to open the Olympic trials. It's a U.S. diving tradition for a past Olympian to present a new Olympian with an Olympic ring once they make the team at trials. The 2016 Olympian Cook gave a ring to her partner and best friend Bacon. So the duo totaled 629.82 points over 5 preliminary dives and 5 final dives. The duo closed out the finals with 7.20 points on their last dive, a front 2.5 somersaults with 1 twist. When they hit the water, they knew they had clinched a spot on the team. They prevailed by 30.33 points over Allison Gibson and Krista Palmer. 3 years ago, Gibson and Palmer won the trials over Cook and Bacon, then placed 8th together at the Tokyo Olympics. Cook stepped away from competition after the Tokyo Olympic trials following shoulder injuries. Bacon encouraged her to return and reform their synchro team. Cook took her up on it and quit her job as a healthcare recruiter to come back to full-time diving in 2023, and thank goodness she did. Cook and Bacon looked like they were in driver's seat for the Olympic spot when they placed 4th at the 2023 World Championships. Then Gibson, unretired, repartnered with Palmer, and together they beat Cook and Bacon at last year's Winter Nationals. Then this past February, Gibson and Palmer took 4th at Worlds. This time around, Cook and Bacon led after all 10 dives. Cook will make her second Olympic appearance after placing 13th in the individual springboard in Rio 2016. Bacon, who has dealt with back fractures, concussions, and shoulder injuries in her diving career, made her first Olympic team in her 4th trials. She missed the Tokyo Olympic team by 1 spot in both the individual and synchronized springboard. She's a 2-time World Championship silver medalist in the individual 1-meter springboard, which is not an Olympic event anymore, I believe. I believe it used to be, but it isn't this year. Bacon said, "We faced a lot of obstacles over the last couple months together, years, honestly, injuries and all that kind of stuff. So just coming through all of that and making my first Olympic team and her second Olympic team, I don't have any words right now for it. The last Olympics were bittersweet. It was over COVID, and I was one of the favorites to make that team, I would say in both synchro and individual. It just lit a fire underneath me. Honestly, I was planning on retiring after that Olympics, so it kept me diving. I wanted to make an Olympic team." And then Cook said, "It was that moment when all your hard work comes to fruition. Sometimes it doesn't always happen. You don't always get the results you want, and that's happened to us before. Once we landed in the water, we knew we landed in the water as Olympians and that we were going to Paris. We were just overwhelmed with emotion. It feels amazing. We have been working so hard for so long and given a lot of sacrifices and gone through so much as a team. To finally say that we made the Olympics together, that we're going to Paris, honestly doesn't feel real yet, but I'm over the moon." Allison Gibson and Krista Palmer's, with their second place finish, had a total score of 599.49 points. Kendall Knight and Samantha Piggins were third with a score of 532.20 points. Lily White and Bailey Sturgill placed 4th at 504.84 points. Ann Fowler and Carolina Schulte finished with 498.63 points in 5th place. And lastly, Ellie Rosalie and Avery Gizzi placed 6th with 462 points. On the second day, we had the women's synchronized 10-meter preliminary, and later that night was the finals. In the preliminaries, Delaney Schnell and Jessica Parratto started out strong, getting the first place spot. And second was Gabriella Filson and Bailey Sturgill. Third was Emily Moore and Kaylee Bishop. Last and 4th was Katarina Hoffman and Abigail Napton. That night was the finals, and there Delaney Schnell and Jessica Parratto secured their spot in the Olympic Games. The pair won the trials by more than 100 points, which is so insane. They were the silver medalists at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and it will be Parratto's 3rd Olympic Games and Schnell's 2nd. They finished with a total score of 607.14 points. This really isn't a surprise that they came out in first. They were the favorites coming in, and I guess we all just kind of expected them to come out in first again and make it to the Olympics. Parratto said after the trials, "I try not to look at the scoreboard, but I think we knew we had a chance. We just wanted to do 5 good dives. There were even some dives I wanted to improve upon and get a little bit better. Obviously, it was good enough and a really good and solid last dive for us. It was just all of the emotions coming together of the past 3 years and just not expecting, honestly, to be where I am right now. Going to a 3rd Games is just crazy." Parratto had actually planned to retire to Tokyo, but Schnell encouraged her not to give it one more go. And the duo got back together in 2023, thank goodness. Parratto said, Delaney got me out of retirement, a couple months of crying. Obviously, it was my decision, and I was happy to come out of retirement just for synchro because it's such a fun event. I wanted to give it one more shot with the Delaney next to me. It was also perfect. It was just a surprise to me, too. I surprised myself. Schnell will also look to qualify individually starting on Friday, and she said, sports are just where you just have to expect the unexpected. For me, it was just a sigh of relief, and now I can go into individual and have a breath of fresh air and stay calm. We already made one event, and I get to relax and breathe. Okay, and then second place was Gabrielle Filson and Bailey Sturgill with 494.13 points. Third was Emily Moore and Kaylee Bishop with 477.39 points. And lastly, fourth was Katarina Hoffman and Abigail Napton with 458.48 points. Based on the total scores, Schnell and Parratto were clear winners. So this morning was the women's 3-meter preliminary, and then later was the women's 3-meter semifinals. Because the results have not come in yet before I started the live stream, I can't really recap everything about how it went. And I sort of wanted to say recap about day 3s for another episode. Instead of recapping, I wanted to talk about the people that are competing in this event. The top 2 divers will make it to the Olympics in this event. So unlike a lot of the diving events, this one has the top 2 divers, which is really nice because sometimes it's more fun and interesting to see more than one person qualify from a diving event. Okay, so Sarah Bacon, who finished 5th at the 2024 World Championships, and Haley Hernandez, who finished 9th in Tokyo, were among the favorites to qualify in the women's 3-meter springboard. Bacon finished 3rd at the Tokyo Olympic Trials, but she will have a strong chance to make the team for Paris after earning 2 World Cup medals in the 3-meter springboard this year. Bacon, like I said earlier, has dealt with several injuries in her career, including shoulder injuries, stress fractures in her back, and concussions. However, she said her body has been in good shape this Olympic cycle, and clearly she's been doing great considering her first place finish in synchronized diving. A 2020 Tokyo Olympian Hernandez will also have a strong chance to make her second straight Olympic team. Hernandez is a 2-time World Junior silver medalist and finished 6th in the 3-meter springboard at last year's Senior World Championships. While Purdue and Indiana have become powerhouses in collegiate diving, the South Lake native chose to stay close to home and attend the University of Texas. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we talk about the student athletes and the U.S. track and field Olympic trials. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. To access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the U.S. Diving Olympic Trials, recap of Day 1 and Day 2, and now we're going to talk about the student athletes in the U.S. Track and Field Olympic Trials, which will take place the 21st to the 30th in Eugene, Oregon. I'm literally counting down the days. It is going to be taking place tomorrow. I just realized the 21st is tomorrow. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. I've been waiting for this trials. The gymnastics and track and field ones, I don't know why, but I'm waiting for them to happen. So in this segment, we're going to be spotlighting the student athletes that are competing in the trials because they are so insanely impressive. In yesterday's show, we talked about some student athletes in the track and field trials, and the people we talked about were Jada Mays, Zaya Holman, Rosaline Effion, Elia Butler, Michaela Rose, Grace Stark, Jasmine Jones, Rachel Glenn, Jenna Rogers, Sophia Beckman, Jada Ross, and Veronica Fraley. And then in the previous episode, we talked about some other ones. We talked about 4, and I'm just Jada Ross. We talk about Jada Ross yesterday? Oh, we did talk about Jada Ross yesterday. Well, we talked about Parker Valby and Jasa Sears and Mackenzie Long. I know we talked about those 3. That is all I can think about on the top of my head. But Parker Valby, Mackenzie Long are like my favorites going into the trials. So we're going to be continuing our conversation and begin talking about the student athletes. Okay, so let's start. Okay, we're going to be starting with Jamisha Ford. Okay, she's from the University of South Carolina, and she'll be competing in the 200 meters. Her personal best is 22.08 seconds. She finished in second in the 200 meters in the NCAA D1 Track and Field Championships this month, and the person that beat her was Mackenzie Long. Ford got her personal best at this meet, so she's on a good track right now. Looking at the personal best of people in this heat at the trials, Ford seems to not be at an advantage. She has one of the faster times, but it isn't in the top 3. And that is a bit concerning considering that they're only the top 2 finishers in the trials qualify for the... Oh, wait, no, it's the top 3 finishers qualify for the trials. I mean, the top 3 finishers in the trials qualify for the Olympics. So considering that her times isn't in the top 3 is a bit concerning. But I don't think she'll be one of the top 2 finishers. You have to consider the other competition she has in the heat. You have Gabby Thomas, Sha'Carri Richardson, Tamari Clark, and Mackenzie Long competing in this event. So that's some tough competition right there. Ford will also be competing in the 400 meter dash, and her personal best is 50.81 seconds. And it is unfortunately not one of the fastest in the heat. So I don't think she'll be qualifying for Olympics in that race. But she does have more of a chance to qualify for the Olympics in the 200 meter dash. Juliet Whittaker from Stanford University will be competing in the 800 meters. Her personal best is 1 minute 59.53 seconds. She actually finished first in the finals of the D1 Championship, so she's on a roll right now. But the situation for her is sort of the same for Ford, where the competition in the heat is so tough, and her time is not one of the top 3. Her time is like right in the middle, but there's so much competition. Athlete Mu has the fastest personal best time in the 800 meters in the trials heat. And I have a lot of confidence that Mu will easily make it to the Olympics. I don't think that Whittaker will be able to qualify for the Olympics in this race, but I still think she has that potential to be in the Olympics, and we could definitely see her in the 2028 Olympics. Jajaz DeFran from Florida State University will be competing in the 100 meter dash, and her personal best is sort of right in the middle of the heat. Her personal best is actually tied with Tamari Davis and Melissa Jefferson at 10.94 seconds. She actually did not do so well in the D1 Championships, as she didn't qualify to the finals because her time and placement was above the top 10 in the prelims. I don't think that DeFran is going to be able to make it to the Olympics, but I think she will definitely surprise people and will still be a great competitor to watch. Raenia Jones from the University of Central Florida will be competing in the 100 meter hurdles. She finished in 3rd in the D1 Championships. Grace Stark finished in 1st, and we talked about her yesterday, and I don't think that Stark could make it to the Olympics compared to the personal best times of the other people in the trials. And pretty much the same thing goes for Jones. Jones has a slower time than Stark, so knowing that, I am not totally sure if Jones has the ability to finish 1st or 2nd in the event, or maybe 3rd. I think Stark has more of a chance of finishing in the top 3 in the event. Still, I do think Jones has the Olympic potential and would be great competition in the 2028 Olympics if she continues on this path. Akala Garrett from UT Austin will be competing in the 400 meter hurdles. She has one of the fastest times in the heat, but not the top 5. So I don't think she has a great chance to make it to the Olympics. But I think she's going to be fierce competition for a lot of the other student athletes in the heat that have faster times, like Rachel Glenn and Jasmine Jones. She got 4th in the 400 meter hurdles in the D1 Championships, right behind Glenn. So I think it'll be interesting to see in the trials if Garrett is right on her tail there too. Lexi Halliday from BYU will be competing in the 3,000 steeplechase. This is interesting because not many student athletes compete in this race. I'm really rooting for her, but unfortunately she doesn't have one of the fastest times in the heat. Still, I think she could surprise people and be fierce competition for some people in the heat, like Marissa Howard and Logan Jolly. In the women's high jump, there is a lot of competition from the student athletes. We talked about Rachel Glenn yesterday, and she's leading in that event, but also there's some other competition with Emma Gates from the University of Arizona. Her personal best is 1.88 meters, and I think she's got a chance of making it to the Olympics. Field events can also be super close, so I think Gates has a great chance of getting 1st and 2nd place. Even if Gates isn't able to qualify for the Olympics, she's going to be really good competition for Rachel Glenn and Jenna Rogers. Chloe Timbert from Rutgers University will be competing in the pole vault. Her personal best is really strong, reaching 4.71 meters, and she got this personal best at the D1 Championships. She's on a roll right now, and I think she's got a strong chance of making it to the Olympics. Her biggest competition is Katie Nigoet, Bridget Williams, and Sandy Morris. I think she's got a good chance of beating Sandy Morris and Bridget Williams, to be honest. Madeline Harris from the University of Nebraska is competing in the javelin throw and has the third best personal best in the trials heat. Her personal best is 60.73 meters, but the top two personal bests are a lot higher than Harris's. Maggie Malone is at first at 65 meters, and Kara Winger is at second at 63.22 meters. Like I said earlier, field events can be super close, and little things have an impact on people's performances. Those two competitors may not be able to reach near their personal best, giving Harris a chance to take the second or even first place spot. I think she's going to be fierce competition for the two of them and has a good chance to make it to the Olympics. She definitely could be in the third place position as well, but she has to worry about the people that are in like the fourth and fifth spot in the heat right now, who are very close competition to her. Tamara Chapman from Texas A&M University will be competing in the heptathon. Anna Hall is in first with her personal best in this heat. Michelle Eartherly is in second, and Chari Hawkins is in third. So that leaves Chapman in fourth. I think Chapman has the potential to beset Hawkins and Atherley, and hopefully she will be able to make the Olympics. I think she has a chance to definitely beat them. But the competition in this heat is very, very tough. And given this is very much a different type of event, I think will be very interesting to watch. So I recommend watching this event for sure. Okay, so that concludes our show for today. I also realized that I did not go over one little thing. I typically go over the tipping and donating in the second segment or third segment, and I forgot to do that today. So I just wanted to say again that if you want to be a part of our show, to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. We really do appreciate your support. I really appreciate your support. I would like to be able to buy groceries and everything, so I would really appreciate it. Also, it really does help the show too. It builds the show, builds character in the show as well. Anyway, I'm just like talking right now. Yeah, so please tip and donate. We would really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Your support means a lot to us, guys. Anyway, that concludes the show today. Thank you guys for tuning in to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, presented to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and our YouTube channels for more updates and content. We do YouTube shorts on our YouTube channel, GSMC Sports Podcast. Yes. And GSMC Sports Network, our YouTube channels. So go check those out if you like some 60-second updates. And the Hoops and Heels one, if you're interested in learning more about women's sports, that will be in the GSMC Sports Network YouTube channel. Thank you guys once again. Have a wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.